Hi everyone. Did you miss me? Because I missed you. And I am so happy to be back. I feel whole again. First of all, I'm trying to put my kids down for a nap, and I'm trying to do this before I have a meeting at 1 o'clock. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but we will see. So I took 2.5 years off because this show was initially, I did ranting on Instagram and I would rant all the time just about nonsense. And it got really popular and people would watch my stories and I never post them as reels because to me that was kind of crazy. And I said, you know what? I love to talk. Let me start a podcast. And it went from being an extension of my rant to just an audio diary, essentially. And it helped some people, it hurt some people. I had some guests, I did some interviews, and some of those interviews or, special guests that I had were very genuine. And the others, I kind of felt like people just wanted to be on the show just to be on the show because it was getting a lot of views and downloads. Like, I haven't done Latinaly in 2.5 years. And again, I haven't done anything. I deactivated the Instagram account, although now it's up and, live again. However, but I deactivated it. We got 2,000 more downloads with me not posting anything, which is like insane. That's crazy. So we're coming back and we're coming harder, bolder, louder. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I have to tell you, doing the show was no longer fun for me. I really lost the joy because at the time it turned into a lot of work and no reward. But doing something like this is often going to come with a lot of work and no reward. But for me, I'm okay with that if I find the joy in it and I lost it. There's a lot of things that we do in life that come with putting in all those hours, putting in all the research, putting in all the time. And no, it's not going to really come with a reward. But the thing is, it depends on what that reward looks like for you. The reward for me was my audience and my joy and like happiness in doing the show and had my audience, which was great and amazing, but I lost the joy. And how fair how fair is it to keep doing a show and giving my audience half-assed episodes from a place of just absolutely no fun. And I didn't want to do that anymore. Doing some of the interviews and having some of the guests and, not really having a focus on this show, the lines got very blurred on what exactly this show was. And I lost sight of the vision of what I wanted for the show. I lost sight of the vision of what the show was even, going to be. If you're watching the video, I keep looking down because my kid's camera is right there. My eyes keep going like this. It's because their monitor, I have my kids on the monitor. Multitasking queen, okay? Period. But I really, but I really started to second guess what I was doing, specifically because the show was like causing a lot of problems and it was hurting some people. I hurt some family members. I think I caused some friction in a few relationships, which was not my intention. And really trying to bridge this gap that I created in this show because it really just started to be that I was just speaking because I had a mouth. That's really what it was. And through all of the searching and the reflecting and the whatever, I started to question, why would anybody even listen to me in the first place? Especially because some of the things that I was saying and what I was doing served absolutely no purpose. And so I really started to rethink the vision for the show. Why the fuck do you want to listen to me? What am I giving you? Because ultimately that's what a podcast is. You're delivering entertainment of some sort, you're delivering lessons, teachings, stories. You are providing something. That's what a podcast is all about. You providing to an audience. And I did not know what I was giving you anymore. So that's why I stopped. It took me a really long time. It took me 2.5 years because that's how long I wasn't doing the show. I dropped some random episode about my VBAC story with my daughter, and then like I disappeared off the face of the earth. The consistency just was not there, and so I just decided enough. Enough. I need to take a pause. I need to take a break. I need to really, really start thinking about what the hell I want to do. And oddly enough, something that I've never experienced in my life is imposter syndrome. And I didn't have imposter syndrome when launching the show in 2020. And I had the craziest imposter syndrome relaunching the show when you're hearing it because I don't know. Everyone and their mother had a podcast. And in my mind, again, I was juggling through all these questions, the ones that I just spoke about. And that imposter syndrome will really cripple you in your creativity. And it's really hard to come out of that because I didn't know what direction I was going to go in at all. And the thing is like people are still listening, still downloading. So like obviously my audience is there. Like you are there. And I just wanted to make sure that I was true in what I was giving you. And again, everyone was launching a podcast. Like literally the BET Awards, fucking Kevin Hart was like, "Don't do a podcast." And I'm like, "Is that my sign?" Because Kevin Hart told me not to do a said to the whole fucking audience. Mind you, I work to the BET Awards. That's where I work. Like that's my job. I'm there and he's like, "Don't do a podcast." And in my mind, I'm kind of going over all the reasons why I want to do my show. And then I have Kevin Hart on national television talking about don't like everyone has a podcast. We don't need another podcast. And I'm like, does it count that I already had my show and then I'm just doing it again? Because I already had the show. So I'm not doing it. But I was reeling on the balcony as I was listening to him. I was like, but I want my show. I took that. I was like, Kevin Hart's talking to me. Mind you, he was not speaking to me at all. He was speaking to the entire audience. Anyway, so it was very real. I was overthinking a lot of things. I was just speaking because I had a mouth, and that doesn't really sit well with everybody. To be honest, that shit doesn't sit well with me. And I know that I've always been someone that has a very singular way of thinking, and I am like Amaya Papaya said, I am not everyone's cup of tea, so don't fucking drink it. And I'm not for everyone. And I've always known this, and I've always really loved that about myself. Like I've never wanted to be the bird of a feather and we all flock together. I'd rather be the bird. I don't know if that I don't know if that fucking makes sense. The thing is, I feel like a lot of people, even in that saying, like birds of a feather flock together, like, okay, cool, like if you're coming up, like you're with, you have your group of people, like if I eat, you eat, that type of shit, cool. I align with that. What I do not align with is, and this just goes up based off of like topics that I discuss or what have you, I do not align with the submission of an idea or an ideal because it is popular. It is the one deemed popular by the many rather than sticking to my very particular opinion or what have you because it definitely might rub people the wrong way. And I'm okay with that. I feel like I have to be okay with that. And I used to really be okay with it. My kids made me soft. My kids made me so soft. I used to not give a flying what people thought about me. I used to not care about people's feelings at all. Like the way that I used to think in back in 2020 was like, I'm gonna say what I have to say. We could fight about it if you want to. That's crazy. That's crazy. And of course, that was a bit of an extremity that I would take in certain situations where I felt there was conflict. That's really the only time I ever really felt that way. Like, I'm gonna say what I have to say. If you don't like it, then we can fight about it. I obviously don't live my life like that, or I didn't. But in essence, I think what I was trying to do with that statement was I'm going to set the boundary. It is what it is, right? But I did it in a very fiery way that created a lot of friction. There is definitely a way to do that. There's definitely a way to set a boundary. There's definitely a way to speak your mind in a very assertive and graceful way and not set the world on fire. Now, don't get me wrong. I will set the planet ablaze under the necessary circumstances, but I'm not going to just do it because someone pissed me off. That's insane. When you release all of this attachment to other people's feelings or views about you or judgments about you, it's very freeing, but it's also very dangerous. And I think I realized that after I had kids because these are two people. Well, it's even my son, even when I had just had my son. After you have children, everything about how this little human being feels about you, their judgment about you, their view about you matters. So I can't be that way anymore because I was closing off even my husband. It bleeds into other relationships that you don't want it to spill onto. And that is so, oh, that's so not good. And I realized that after I had my son. And then it doubled after I had my daughter. The thing is after I had my kids, I think my anxiety grew so much that I really did begin to care about everything, about my words, how I was, putting them together, how other people were going to receive it, and the thing is like, it could just be about anything. It doesn't even have to be about a topic that would normally spark a debate or would spark a rage bait, whatever the case is. It could be about the trees. I was mincing everything. I think as I got older, I'm 30. I love being 30, by the way. I realized that the way that I think and the way that I feel is not always going to be received. It's not always going to be absorbed. It's not always going to be taken in the way that I'm trying to deliver it. And that's with anybody, and that's with any piece of information. Truly, that's with any opinion, that's with any feeling, that's with any topic that I talk about on here. It doesn't matter because I went viral for a minute and you're not going to find it. I deleted it. I had my one viral moment when I was pregnant with my daughter. So like this is over 2 years ago now. Like I wasn't even doing my show. And I went viral again. I deleted it. And it was about, I don't know if you guys remember, it was of another viral influencer. She's actually very famous. She did a story. She told a story about her going to the park with her daughter. Her daughter made friends with a boy at the park. The boy at the park just so happened to be having a birthday party with all of his friends in that park. And he was just at the playground and he met this influencer's daughter. Now, after they were playing or whatever, the boy, I guess, went back to his party and the little girl followed him. And the little girl asked, she took a piece of cake off the table, or she may have asked for it. I don't know the detail, but she took a piece of cake off the table. The boy's mother snatched it out of her hand and said, "These are not your friends. You cannot have cake." The influencer then went on to TikTok to basically tell the story. I think she was even crying in the car. She was telling the story and she was basically like, why wouldn't my daughter get a piece of cake? Right? She was more so tight, yes, about the mother like saying that to her daughter, but I think she was more tight about the fact that why wouldn't my daughter just get a piece of cake? So I made a response video and I was dragged through the mud. And the point of my video was very missed. It was so missed. I started off the video by basically saying, I don't know if it's a cultural thing. Now, when I mean cultural thing, I mean like a New Yorican thing, a Puerto Rican from New York. Okay? There's a big difference between New Yorkers and Puerto Ricans, and there's a big difference between New Yorkers, Puerto Ricans, and other Latino cultures. Okay. And people thought I had an issue with the child. Now, here's the thing. If you are not a Puerto Rican from New York, shit, you don't even have to be Puerto Rican. If you ain't from New York, and I'm not talking about Buffalo, I'm talking about the boroughs, slightly upstate, Long Island, okay? If you are hosting a birthday party and some random ass kids come up to your party, you're gonna be like, whose kids are these? What you doing at my party? Where's your mom? Where, where, where's your dad? And then you'd be just like taking food off the table. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What up, Holmes? Calm down. Can I help you? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? So when I said this is a cultural thing, people dragged me for that. They were like, Mexicans don't do that. And I went, respectfully, I'm not Mexican. I know y'all don't do that. I know y'all don't do that. If I was Mexican, I probably wouldn't have done that. But Puerto Ricans don't do that. We don't like each other very much. We don't like people very, very much. And neither do Sagittarius. So I think I'm fucked both ways. Like, like that's how I felt. I was like, and it's funny because all my family members were like, period. Like my family members understood, right? And the thing is, like, my issue wasn't the kid. Like, I would never, and this was the whole point. See how I made a joke? See how I made the joke in the beginning and then I got to the point? The point is, I would never deny a baby a piece of cake. I'm a mother. I am a mother. If a little girl came up to my party and like took a piece of cake or asked me for a piece of cake, I would give her the cake. My issue is not the child. My issue was the mother. First, the mother who decided to be like, this ain't your friends. First of all, calm down. You're grown. Don't talk to a child that way. Second, my issue was with the influencer mother who felt that her daughter was entitled to pull up to a random party in which she was not invited to snag a piece of cake off this table. It's not your birthday. It's not your friends. Like, the principle of it is not something that should be voiced by the boy's mother. It should have been voiced by her mother. That's all I was saying. My issue is not the baby. My issue is the mother believing that you're entitled to show up to places in which you are not invited, you are not welcome, and take things that don't belong to you. That's the principle. And then you just because you feel entitled for your daughter, now you're teaching your daughter it's okay to do those things. That was my issue. I don't give a fuck about no cake. I do care about the cake. I care about the cake. And you know what? I'm a mom. If I saw my kids rolling up to some random party, I'd be like, that's not a party. You don't know them. And then also, too, I don't eat at everyone's house. I don't eat at everyone's party. And those are people that I know. So, damn well I'm not going to show up to a party unannounced and uninvited because my daughter made friends with, Sally, Beth, and John. And now all of a sudden I'm going to eat the food. I don't know you. I'm not going to eat your food. So my child will not eat your food. We just don't eat at everybody's events. And that's just who I am. So as a mother, I would never teach my children, yeah, go get me cake. That's not me as a mother. And I would never feel entitled to have my child be like, yeah, baby, go take a piece of cake from these people that we don't know and we're crashing their party. I don't like a party crasher. Oh my God, I do not like a party crasher. Y'all could get the hell on out. There is a RSVP, invitation, head count, catering number. That is all in place for a reason. Okay? I don't like a party crasher. There is money behind the party. So no, don't crash my party. Don't crash my party. But that's besides the point. And that goes for adults. That goes for adults before people will try to drag me on this bullshit again. And see, that's the thing. And like, that's why I was like, do I even want to do this show? Because that viral moment taught me this life may not be for me. I don't I don't know how some people do it. Michaela, no clue. No effing clue. Okay? I don't particularly dislike her. I just don't think that she's very honest. James Charles, he should have been canceled. And I'm not even going to talk about cancel culture. That's for another episode. But I don't know. The point that I'm trying to make is I don't know how influencers can go. I was dragged. People came after my unborn daughter over a video about fucking cake. People were commenting on videos of doing my gender reveal for my daughter, talking about no one cares about your daughter's gender. You don't give babies cake. Fuck you, bro. And my thing is, as a Sag, I will fight you with fire. No. See, I like to fight in the comments. Like, if you're going to take the time out of your day to comment something disgusting like that, especially on my pregnant belly and my blessed womb, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you. And also, too, you want to come on my comments talking about that Jesus doesn't love me or my children? Um, yes, he does. Yes, he does. The Lord loves me. I'm bringing up these influencers because I don't know how they do it. Okay. That life was not meant for me. So, do I really want to start doing a podcast that could potentially go somewhere? And then now I'm getting all this shit in my comments. That's the point of it, because I don't know how Nara Smith can be, mind you, the girl just does food. She does food, she models, she has her kids, she's buying 1,000 houses, and she's living her life. Like, I don't know how you can do that and keep making your aesthetic content and like you're unbothered when people are dragging you through the mud for copying that other influencer, Oneswa, and her recipes. Gagged. I went to her page. I don't follow Nara. I follow Oneswa. She posted like a beef noodle and she made the noodles from scratch. I'm like, damn, that looks good. Why on my For You page? 3 days later, Nara posted the same recipe. I went, what the fuck? And I went, okay, that's crazy. It's giving very Haley and Selena. I don't know how she gets dragged and just like goes on with her day. Care by Cara, that adorable girl who be doing backflips and shit in the supermarket, dragged. Dragged. And she doesn't even she just talks about shit at the supermarket and she's on that low beige vitamin A diet. Dragged. I don't know how she does it. I don't know, because every comment that would come through my social media, I'm like, I want to fight you. And I did. And I did. And then my husband was like, just block them. But that takes a lot of effort, as does fighting in the comments. Both give me equal satisfaction. Both. I was like, can I go on like this? And then I went, you know what? Fuck it. Because it doesn't matter. Because I could repost that shit about the cake and it be completely received and it go to my target audience and everyone loves it and understands it. I went on Instagram and she was the mom influencer. And I think she has like 3 kids or whatever. She posted a video on Monday. She posted a video on Tuesday. The video on Monday got 1.3 million likes. Likes. So the views were crazy on that one. Same exact video. No re-edit, no cut, nothing. Posted it the next day. Same caption and everything. 50,000 likes. Double the amount of views. Twice the amount of shares. Like, you know, when an influencer is getting dragged when their video has more shares than it does comments and likes. It's the same video. One was received well. The other one, it was she was dragged. Same thing happened to my girlfriend. Posted a video about women being, a little inappropriate the way they dress at restaurants, and she went, it's called fashion sense for a reason. Have some sense and dress accordingly. She posted it like a year and a half ago. Trolls. Thumb thuggin' trolls all over her page. It went viral, of course, and she let it go. Meaning she like just left it up, didn't answer nobody, period, right? And only the select few, the girls that get it, got it, commented, cool. She posted the video like 2 weeks ago, the same video. The vibe was met. The message was understood by everybody. It's the same video. So the point that I'm trying to make is, what's the point? The point is that it doesn't matter what you say. If it receives, if it reaches the audience that it's meant to reach, it will do well. And you will be one with the people. But if you stumble into enemy territory, that's it. Ain't nobody gonna like you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you say. You can be the nicest person in the world, and somebody, if you go into enemy territory, they will fuck you up via technology. And so I came to the conclusion, yeah, I don't care anymore. Genuinely. And that makes me feel good. That makes me feel really, really, really good. However, there is definitely a way to do things. I mean, I really had to think about what does untamed, uncensored, and unapologetic mean? Because initially, what it meant was in the beginning was that I was just going to talk out the side of my neck and just let it rock. I really had to reevaluate that because what the hell does that tagline even mean? I needed for it to transform from reckless rants to purposeful conversation that can be done in a very untamed, uncensored, and unapologetic way, gracefully. I really do believe that it represents every woman that is misunderstood. This is reflective of every woman that has been called a diva, intimidating, a bitch, difficult, assertive, bossy, and overall, the women that are called too much. You're too much, you're too extra, you're too opinionated, you're too confrontational, you set too many boundaries, you do. Yeah, I've learned, yeah, I am too much. And that's on purpose. And the thing is that I gravitate to those women as well. I find that in my many in in the few relationships that I do have in my life, those are the women that I gravitate to. The ones that are way too fucking much for everyone else. Not me. Bitch, you perfect. You my perfect little cup of cafecito. These are the women that often stand out, stand out from the crowd because of their power. And that power comes from going through some of the darkest times that you could ever go through in your life and ripping skin and bleeding nails trying to crawl out of it and finding your light to fight to get out of those spaces, those moments of negativity, overthinking. And interestingly enough, those are the same spaces that those that you intimidate will try to keep you in because this light is so positive. And a lot of it, most of the time, I know for myself, I'm a woman of God. It comes with a lot of faith. It comes with a lot of softness and grace. And the thing is that when we step into this new sense of peace, it comes with a lot of different things. It comes with severed relationships, new habits, behaviors, new ways of communicating, new ways of setting boundaries, and new mindsets. And oftentimes it's too much for people. That change is too much for people because what people see as an overnight change took women like us years. And so when people come in, they say, I really don't recognize you. You've you've changed a little too much. And it's like, that's the point. And so if you don't recognize me, maybe you're meant to stay lost. I know where I'm going. And that's what I feel about the tagline. I think that's what the tagline represents. We are the women that are untamed. We are the women that are uncensored and completely unapologetic. And those are the women that I talk to. And we are very few. There aren't a lot. And the thing is that sometimes in certain topics, it's not often received well because honestly, I'm for the girls who get it. And those of you that don't. And it's fine. And it's always going to be fine with me, especially now. Stepping into that confidence of who I am in terms of what I believe and how I think and how I move and how I carry myself, that's only going to be absorbed and received by a certain select set of women. And that's who my show's for. Truly, I think that it shifted from not really caring about being disliked. I don't really care about that. What I care about more than anything is, did I show up as my ideal self that I want to be? Did I show up as my best version? Did I articulate myself in the best way that I feel that I could? And if I did, then my job is done. For me to be able to sleep better, for me to be able to be happy with who I am and what I put out there into the world. It's about speaking with purposefulness and a bluntness that is kind. You don't have to be an asshole to be blunt. You can be blunt and you can be kind. It's understanding that words, no matter what they are, words have a gravity to them and they are going to weigh differently on other people. And doing your best or doing my best to show up the way that I feel the most proud of is my goal. And that's always going to be my goal. And truthfully, this entire process, this 2.5 years, has shown me a lot. And the one of the biggest things that it has shown me is that growth does not come wrapped in comfort. And I've had to deal with a lot of situations and lessons of being uncomfortable. And when you learn to thrive in the discomfort, that's when the evolution happens. And that's when we see a paradoxical shift in who we are as women. I feel really proud that that shift has happened, and I just want to put that shift out there on my show for you. And that is it for today's episode. If you feel seen, if you feel called out, that's growth. And that's okay because we can do it together. If you cannot get enough of me the same way I cannot get enough of you, go ahead and go to all of our channels, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and do all the things, do the likes and the subscribes, and share this with another woman who you believe is too much on purpose. I am Kaya Burgos. This is the Latinaly podcast, forever untamed, uncensored, and unapologetic. And I'll see you next week. Bye. Woo! That was a good one.